today. Hope all my brothers and sisters out there are doing good. All our fellow veterans staying safe and warm. And if not, I hope you got your battle buddies to contact and got your sources there. Um, Today is a special episode for me because a lot of you know I like to paint and do photography and everything. And I've told you this is how I deal with my PTSD. And today we have a nonprofit on called Creativets. And their representative with us today is Bart Crowe. He was in the Army from 88 to 96, and he too is a Desert Storm veteran. So, well, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about Desert Storm here, but we're mainly going to concentrate on Creativets. So, welcome to the show, Bart.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate y'all having me on here today.
It's an honor to have you on because,
Thank
like I
you.
said, this what you folks do touches me right in my heart. So, if you could go ahead and explain a little bit about your career, and then we'll get into Creativets.
I joined the Army in 1988. I joined as a petroleum supply specialist. After my training, I was sent to Germany, was 3rd Armored Division. I spent from the end of 1988 to June of 1991 over there. I came home and joined the Florida Army National Guard from July of 91 until May of 96. Same career path as a fuel handler, 77 Foxtrot, with an air defense battalion down here. And after that, I got out of the military, got my 100% for my PTSD, and sort of been trying to find something to do for past up until 2017. And I've heard about the Creativets program. I signed up for it, and it's changed my life drastically.
Oh man, fantastic! So I just want to hear correctly. You worked with fuels while you were in the Army.
Yes, sir. I was a petroleum
All
supply
right,
specialist.
all right. So basically, you were like what we in the Air Force call gas passers,
Yeah,
our
pretty much.
fuelies. Yes.
Pretty much.
And so to start off with, what is Creativets?
Well, Creativets is a program that uses art to help veterans deal with injuries such as PTSD and traumatic brain injury, and a few other injuries. And they use visual arts along with music. And I'm more associated on the artistic, or I shouldn't say the artistic side, but the art side of it, not the music side of it. And what Creativets will do is they'll take applications from military veterans, combat veterans mostly, and they'll go through, find people who are not really artists, and they'll contact the folks and explain about the programs they offer. One of the programs that they offer is at the School of Art at the Institute of Chicago. It's one of the largest art schools in the United States, and that is where I had the chance to attend in 2017.
Mm.
And they're based out of the ceramics department, and ceramics is I don't want to say the primary focus, but we're based there, and that is sort of the primary focus when we get there. Because with clay, you're playing with the earth in a sense. Clay comes from the
Yes.
earth, and the earth can be grounding at times. And so they like to use that so people get their hands into it and feel it. And that school has opened their arms so wide to the Creativets program that, we have the whole metal shop that's involved, the whole wood shop is involved. The sculpture department gets involved, photography gets involved, bookmaking. It is the craziest thing that, we're there for 3 weeks out of the summer, and we've been there from 16 until this year. And the outpouring of love and support we get is just crazy. And every year we get more and more staff members that are wanting to open up their rooms or their departments to the veterans to heal and get the, just do art so they can heal at their own pace.
Oh wow! And to let our audience know, we do have a chat um, in place here. So if you got questions for Bart, by all means, put it in the chat, and we'll get to Bart, and he'll answer them for you. And now, how did you get involved with Creativets?
A friend of mine, he was in the military, and he had a pretty tough go of it when he was over in Iraq. And he was looking for something to heal with his to help heal his PTSD with. And he came along Creativets, and at that time, I think they were the Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. They were doing a course. And the co-founder, Richard Casper, was running the program all by himself at the time. I mean, he was a one-man show. So I talked to my friend. He gave me Richard's number. He gave my number to Richard. Within a couple hours, Richard called me and was, telling me about the program. And I was like, well, yeah, sure, let's do it. I'm open-minded. I'm interested. I said, but I have no art experience. He's like, you're the perfect person. I was like, the only art experience I ever had is getting in trouble by my high school teacher drawing on my notebooks. So I went to the program in 17 in Chicago, met Richard, and I had a great class of students, or I shouldn't say students, but other veterans with me. And it changed my life. I can't tell you in a way, because I was having nightmares almost every night. This one nightmare I'd have up to 3 or 4 times a night. And the project I did was about my nightmare. And Creativets doesn't mind if family members and friends come and visit while we're there, or when we, at the end of the program, they have an exhibit with all our work, and they like the family and friends to come to that, and they open it up to the public. Well, during the program, like I said, I was working on this project that had to do with a nightmare. And as we're in the class, we're talking to each other about our projects, and you don't realize you're doing that. Well, at that same time, we're talking, we're also healing ourselves, because we're telling other people our stories that, some people we haven't told, only a few people these stories. And when at the end of the show, my wife came in, and this upset me. She saw what was my piece, and she just lost it, because she knew that was me. And we never even told her what I was doing. And it, so it really, that program really changed my life. And by doing this, it's helped this nightmare almost, I don't want to say completely go away, but I don't have that nightmare, but maybe a few times a month now instead of a few times a night. And I think just by doing that, showing the world a part of me that was closed up, and then letting people all over Chicago see it that I didn't know, it took something out of me and gave me something that changed my life and helped me sleep. And, just for that, I felt like I needed to pay it back some way by helping and just paying it forward to my brothers and sisters, and watching them, and hopefully they getting more out of the program than what I did.
You just hit on a very, very important point to me, and I know a lot of some other vets, is you start to express yourself, to express what was happening to you. Where, if you noticed, veterans don't normally do anything like that. We don't talk about what happened to us. We don't talk. And I'm trying to break that barrier. And it sounds like Creativets is doing that as well. So,
Yeah.
So I'm getting emotional too, because my paintings are my nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Well, most of my paintings are my nightmares. And the same thing happened with my wife when she saw one of my first paintings. Well, to give you a little story, is my brother Dennis, who was a Vietnam and a Desert Storm veteran, ended up killing himself 22 years ago, this past Christmas Eve. So one of my first paintings I did, I titled it 22, and it was eerie and everything. But my wife, she saw it for the first time. She knew exactly what it was, knew exactly what it meant. And she too, lost it there for a bit, because she understood. And that's one of the things that us veterans, I think, need to learn, is we need to open up.
Oh, 100%.
And we're actually our worst enemies now that we're out of the service, because we don't open up. And this is why I'm so appreciative of what Creativets is doing, because it sounds like it's helping veterans open up. And do you agree with me on that?
Oh, 100%. It does, because I've seen, I mean, in the class that I was in, we had the top tier guys. And,
Mhm.
all the way down to, this fuel handler. And, you know, it is pretty amazing when you see, your top of the top tier fighting, or your top tier warrior down there with a guy like just a fuel, I don't want to say a fuel handler, but somebody that, this guy's trained to rescue hostages and kick in, I mean, just get the worst off the street. And when you talk to these people, from them down to me, it's, we all got the same experiences. In a sense, we got the same
Mhm.
problems. And one of the things that I've always said was, vets heal vets. Ain't nobody can heal a vet like a vet, because we can
Exactly.
say things, we can do things that honestly would get other people knocked out.
Yes.
and we understand that. And we don't do it. I don't want to say we don't do enough of that, but while we're teaching each other to heal, we also need to tell each other to cry, because one thing we don't do is cry,
Right.
because we were taught at a very young age, most of us 18 years old, suck it up, step over the body and take what you need off it and get the mission completed.
Yes.
And we take that, I took that get the mission completed in my life up till 17. And it almost, I mean, it's ruined my life up until 17. And,
Hmm.
and the art is people healing each other while they're talking and showing each other their projects. And it's beautiful. We had, in my class, we had a gentleman that was in, I think it was Iraq, and one of his friends came through the program that I was volunteering at, and I think it was in Chicago a few years later. And these guys were in the same unit, and they had a bad day one afternoon, and they never talked about their art projects to one another. And they did the same day. Their art projects, several years apart, without even talking to each other, were based on the same bad afternoon.
Oh, wow.
And it was totally different to see one project to the other project. One
Hmm.
project was pretty big and intense, and the other one was just a watermelon. And that's what art does. I mean, it takes your worst day, and you can explain that by making a watermelon.
Yes.
It's insane. So it's healing. It's
And
very healing.
I think through art too, veterans not only help heal ourselves, but our families and our friends as well. Because I'm a firm believer that what I go through, my family goes through.
Yes.
If I'm having a very bad day dealing with my PTSD or my health issues due to my exposure and everything, my family's going through the same thing.
Yes.
So when I create my art, they get to heal as well when they get to see it and view it and critique it, and it helps them heal as well.
Yes.
And
And
I'm sure you
no.
agree with that too.
Yeah, I do 100%. Because at the end of the project, or I shouldn't say the project, at the end of the 2 to 3 week period that Creativets is doing the art programs, they have an exhibit the last day, and friends and family and just visitors off the street are more than welcome to come in. And like I said, we just finished up on the 19th of this month at the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston, and the exhibit there had so many people. I heard them say they're seeing parts of the military that they never saw before. They're
Yeah.
seeing things that they
Mhm.
wish they would see in paper, in video, in news, and to show what these veterans go through, and what they need and what they need healing from. And one lady said, I heard her say she took pictures of all the veterans' description cards of their artwork, because the artwork got her so emotional. She just was tapped out mentally, and she couldn't sit there and read them. So
Mhm.
she was taking it home so she could read it a few days later. And
Yes.
and some of these veterans, one of the veterans in this program she just made she was stationed in Japan, and so she made a sushi set just because she enjoyed sushi so much, and Japan was part of her life. One of her pieces she made was just a sushi set, to like a food bowl and stuff like that. So, and people don't see that. And then when they do see it, they're like, oh, wow, this has some kind of healing for this veteran, because, there were some bad things associated with her military career also. So
Yes.
it helps them heal. So it's awesome,
Now,
and
and yeah, you hit on another good point. The education of the general public through the art too. It's because I've done some art shows, and people are always asking me, well, what was the inspiration behind this? And then I tell them, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know you guys went through stuff like that. So the education of the general public too, I think, is very important. And through
yes.
this art, I think it's helping to educate people.
Oh, it is. It is, because, they want to get involved. Uh, so many
Hmm.
people that came through that little exhibition on the 19th or the 18th in Houston, where they wanted, some of them were like, how can we get involved? Some of them were school staff. They're like, what can we do to help out the next class that comes by? And then
Hmm.
there were some people that, were wanting to give donations and stuff like that, that were from the community in Houston, that, heard about the program and heard about the exhibit and showed up to see it. So, it affects everybody, from just a veteran coming in off the street to just any person coming in off the street, and family members in between. And it heals. It taught me to open up and talk to my wife a little bit more about certain things too, because
Hmm.
I did this program and I did this piece, and it just changed me. And to let people in on that I didn't know who they were, and they'd never met them before, was a big that's a big challenge to do.
Mm. Now, does Creativets use all different mediums? Like you said, like a metal shop, or
Yes, they do.
well, you mentioned clay too. So,
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, they're based out of the ceramics department, and we had a veteran in summer class in Chicago this year. He's never worked with metal. He went down in the metal shop, and he built this piece. He named it Blessed, and he made it out of all metal. And like I said, never had a day one in metal shop. The wingspan on this thing was probably 6.5 feet by the time he was done. It had a dog tag about the size of I don't know, a tray at McDonald's on it, and a helmet. And the guy never worked with metal, and he did that, and he nailed it.
way cool, way cool.
One of the other participants we had during the summer did a big project in the wood shop that was about 7 foot long by the time they were done with it, and just a monstrous piece of. And she never worked with wood saws or those big sanders in a wood shop before either. So um, they reach out to everybody, and the more people that get involved in the schools, the more doors open for the departments of the schools too. Because like some of the classes we do are in that in between period in the summertime,
Hmm.
where they don't really have classes, and then some of the teachers, they agree to do this. And but it's like every year we get one more, we got another one doing this, and or we got school staff there that are open their
Awesome.
doors. So it's a great thing.
And at you say they display them at the end of the course. Are they able to sell the artwork, or?
They are, if somebody's offered them, if they wanted to, they could go right ahead and do that, because like Creativets says, this is your art. You can do what you want with it. Creativets does ask the veterans if they can keep their artwork for up to a year after they do it, because what they'll do is they'll also have people approach them about putting the art in art shows throughout the country.
Mm.
Or Creativets will approach people and ask, hey, would you like to do this? And so they can send art. I have a piece I think it's still there. I'm not sure. It might have ended last month, up in the Veterans Museum, and I think it's up there in Columbus, Ohio, down there. At the and they had it down there this summer, and I think I had a piece or two there, and they got a bunch of pieces from Creativets to do their exhibit down there. So they do travel throughout the country also.
All right. I just want to mention the chat to our audience. Our audience is growing big time today. Big time. So if you have questions or comments for Bart or I, go ahead, put them in the chat, and we'll get them on the show, folks. And I want to thank you for joining us as well. Now, does Creativets do this throughout the country, or is it just in Houston?
They do this throughout the country. We they have a program that, like I said, they do one in Chicago at the School of Art in Chicago. They do this one in Houston. This is our first time in Houston. It was the 3rd of this month to the 19th of this month. And I think they're wanting to try to do something else in there in May for another class. And there's a possibility that might be 2 separate classes going at the same time. One that would be based in ceramics and one that might be based in photography. So they could do, 2 weeks of photography, and then the other class will be doing 2 weeks of ceramics while they're all together. And that would be pretty wild. They did one at the University of Southern California in 2018, but with COVID, that sort of messed a few things up. And like I said, when I got the word about Creativets, my buddy was going through it at VCU in Richmond, Virginia. So they are trying to get put throughout the country so they can hit more localized populations too. Eventually, programs like Houston, they'd like to sort of service that Houston area with Houston veterans, starting with, I don't want to say starting with combat vets, but, the disabled veteran population, and then maybe working it down to possibly one day just reaching out to all veterans that need help that could do something like that. And so, the more places we get throughout the country, of course, we can touch more lives and more veterans with art. Mm-hmm. So.
All right. And Janet, thank you for watching the show today. And she says hi to Bart. And we have a couple other comments here.
Yeah, one's from my mom, of course.
Yep. We'll put Mom on here in a second. But David Brown, thank you for joining the show, David. How did you create your relationship with Creativets?
Well, like I said, I attended the program in 2017, and they showed me a way to change, to be a better person, to look at life through a different set of eyes, and just sort of like a combat veteran's eyes, and, be scared. When I was there, one of the things about Chicago, there's a big Palestinian population in Chicago. And up until 2017, I pretty much stayed away from everybody that resembled like they were from that part of the world. So, I love Middle Eastern food. I had an issue with the women taking their kids to school in the mornings when they were crossing the roads. I'd sort of slip to the back of the line at the crosswalks and everything. Mm-hmm. But I decided one day to go to a Middle Eastern restaurant and eat. And I told a couple of guys in my class, and they're like, "Whoa, time out! You're gonna do what?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna go to this place. I'm gonna eat because I got to face this fear." And so they're like, "Can we go with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And so I walk by this restaurant 5-6 times a day. And when I turned the corner to go to the building, it's like 50 yards down the street. And I almost got physically sick right there when I turned the corner because I knew what I was going to do. And it's probably one of the hardest things I ever do is swallow that lump and carry on. And then I got to the door and I did the same thing. Almost got sick again. I went into the restaurant, ordered my food. We ate. I stayed there for about a half hour afterwards because it's after work. So everybody was coming in, grabbing some food and leaving. Mm-hmm. Just sat there until my nerves went away, and I was sitting there. Then I was like, "Okay, I'm bored. Let's leave." And so I think doing that, and then also the crazy thing, the last day of that summer while we were there, the Palestinians had a big march down State Street with like 300 people in their march, and I got out in the center of their crowd because they came right down in front of the school dorm. I stood there and took pictures of everything coming by. Just immersed myself in that parade and protest. Mm-hmm. And so I don't get sketched out as much anymore. So I've, I'm using that, let's teach a new old dog new tricks thing and seeing if it works. It seems to be.
Yeah. Now, I remember when I came back to, I had a very discriminating against Middle Easterns as well,
Mhm.
and that was eating me up for quite a while. But I don't remember what I did to get over it. I don't remember, but my counselors, when I go in for counseling, they say that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
That like the trauma that caused your PTSD, you're not going to remember every detail about it.
Yeah.
You just remember certain aspects. So she was like, yeah, you'll probably never realize how you got over that,
Hmm.
but just be glad that you did.
Yeah.
And, but now here we go. We got another comment here, and so everybody can see. Hi, Bart's mom. How you doing today?
She's gonna embarrass me.
No,
No
moms don't
pictures.
embarrass us. But now, in Middle Eastern food, oh my God, I love that stuff too,
I
man.
know.
That's some
I love
good
it.
stuff.
It is. And I'm just glad I could face that fear like that. And then,
Yes.
I had a couple good solid brothers that went with me to make sure if I did melt down, they were there to sort of take some of the heat off me. So it was great.
Now, when a veteran gets into the Creativets program, are there fees involved, or is it all taken care of through donations? Or
It's 100% donation based. There's nothing that the veteran would have to pay for. Once they get to their location, we take care of them. We house them. We'll get them their flights. We'll get them city transit passes. So if they want, they can use the trains or the busing systems to get around. The school tuition's all been taken care of. We give them a $65 per day per diem in Chicago and a $50 per day per diem for food in Houston. And so they are taken care of 100%. We buy school supplies, or I should say art supplies if they need it. And we usually give them, just a base $100 also that they can use to start buying their art supplies with. And anything over, we'll pick up the extra cost of that if they need to.
oh wow,
So we make sure, when they get here, they don't have nothing. And, last time in Chicago and Houston, we took everybody to the shopping center the first night at Target and say, y'all go get your supplies and we'll be here at the register waiting for you. That way they can have snacks. Everybody don't eat the same snacks. So, whoa, what was that? Uh-oh. I lost you.
Did you?
Yeah, my
Uh-oh.
screen went blank.
Oh.
I'm trying to come back in. My phone on my watch started. Oh, join stream.
Let's see here. I think we just lost Bart. There he is. He's back.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and get rid of this other one here. All right. There we go.
My watch started ringing. I think it might have done something.
All right. We got another comment here for you. We'll go ahead and show it. From Janet again, but
go on, Jan, send it to them. They would love the program.
Yes, definitely send it to them. Anything to help our brothers and sisters. That's what we're asking for.
Yeah,
that's it.
And it is. They just got to take the chance.
Yep, that's it. I think you might agree with me. Not only are we stubborn, but once we get out of the service, we don't take chances.
We don't.
we put our shell around us, and that's it.
Yeah, we hunker down.
Then we gotta break that shell.
Yeah, and 90% of getting the veteran there to the program is getting them on the plane ride there, getting them on the first plane ride to the program, and once they're there, they get to see how it's going to change them, and then they get to meet other veterans, and then they get to meet other veterans they can network with to find other things to help them out, and then to give their other brothers and sisters new ideas to help themselves out.
Is that your wife by chance
It,
who's in the studio?
it is. I wish it was my girlfriend because it would be less embarrassing. Yeah,
uh,
that is her.
Melinda, would you like to join the show? Come on and talk about how this Creativets helped your husband and you.
She's at work. I don't know if she'll be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I need to do sometimes when we get someone like you on who's gone through a program, have their family on too, so everybody can see the full effect of what these programs do.
Yeah, I think that'd be great because,
Mm-hmm.
like I said earlier, Creativets doesn't mind if family comes out to visit you while you're there. And the school dorms, it's just like a student,
Mm-hmm.
they'll let the wife stay out there up to 5 or 6 days. And so it's nice because then she gets to come, she gets to see me do everything. And then, of course, then she gets to meet the other veterans. But,
Yes.
And like she said, she sent Richard, the co-founder, the other day a note saying, he can have me whenever he wants because she knows and she sees what a great job Creativets does in helping me, just try to be a better person and pay it forward to the other veterans out there.
All right. Now, so everybody understands, Melinda is able to private chat with us. So I'm unable to put her messages onto the screen for you. But Melinda, Bart's wife, just stated Creativets is the best. It has completely changed our lives for the better, and I cannot say enough about how wonderful this program is for the veterans. And I want to thank you so much for sharing that with us, Melinda. That is absolutely fantastic, and that is one of the reasons why I do this podcast, is so we can get information like this out to the rest of our brothers and sisters, so they can learn that, hey, there are programs out there that actually do help, actually do work, actually are designed for us and our families.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I do this. It's for you guys and you ladies and your families.
And there's no doctors involved. It's just your brothers and sisters doing art with you.
Because one of the things I learned while I was advocating for the PACT Act, when I went to Washington, D.C., I met some people who were directors or presidents or founders of some nonprofits. And I never heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what does your nonprofit do? And they would tell me. And I said, well, what does your nonprofit do? And they tell me. And I was like, how would I have known about this if I didn't meet you?
Yeah.
Because there's no bulletin board posted everywhere saying, hey, veterans, here's nonprofits to help you. We have to dig for it. And a lot of times you can't find what you need. So that's why I do this, because veterans are missing so much information about nonprofits designed to help us. And another thing I learned too is with some of these major nonprofits that everybody's heard about, they compete with each other instead of saying, hey, thank you for inquiring about our nonprofit. Unfortunately, we can't help you.
Yeah.
But then they go, but become a member with us so we can help other veterans. But they don't say, hey, look, this nonprofit over here can help you.
Exactly.
So when this nonprofit over here gets a veteran that could be helped by the other one, they're doing the same thing. They're not telling them. So, and this is why I'm thankful for Creativets, because when I've researched it, I've heard from other veterans who say that they did apply, but they've already had, art experience and stuff, but they were given information about other nonprofits that probably could help them.
Yes.
So that's another reason why I appreciate this program here.
Yes.
And now, when the veteran arrives at the course, at the school, Is there like a day of um like orientation where you just get to know everybody, or automatically just jump right into creating art?
Now, we usually have a day or two before the classes start. We try to get everybody to arrive at the airport about the same time, and that way we can wait for them. In Chicago, we'll meet everybody at the airport. We got a CTA pass for everybody. We'll give them that. We'll all take the train from the airport to the corner of the street where the dorm is. It's a straight shot. When they get off the train, they got about maybe 40 yards to walk to the dorm. We'll take them into the dorm. I usually have a bunch of bedding for them, laundry soap, some snacks, pillows, umbrellas, some art supplies for them. So when they get there, they'll come get a box from me. They'll take it to their room. They can get set up around 6 o'clock that night. We'll order a bunch of pizzas and go upstairs to one of the open rooms, and we'll sit there and I'll introduce myself to everybody. We'll tell our stories, and then we'll ask each one of the veterans to introduce themselves, and we'll be eating pizza and just getting to know each other. And then I'll try to take everybody one day for a walk around the city of Chicago, because we are in a real good area right there on State Street. The dorm is right across from the Chicago Theater, so you're within a 2-minute walk to the river, 10-minute walk to the school. So I'll try to take them around to show them certain places they can get food, just go out, have a good time, and, just so they can sightsee and get out on their own.
Yeah, I little rather familiar with that area. It's also a short bus ride to the lake from there too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a 5-minute walk.
Yeah,
Really, you don't even have to take a bus. You honestly get there quicker if you walk.
probably, yeah. With
But
Chicago traffic,
yeah,
yeah, most definitely.
and plus, so in there, like I said, we give them a $65 a day per diem. So I'll show them nice
Mhm.
little restaurants they can go eat at and places they can eat at. And while they're there, we pretty much, I don't want to say we don't ride, we don't tell them what to do. They're there like a normal college student. Uh, and I'm there just in case they need anything, to be a little late liaison between the school and the students, or the veterans, I should say, and just make sure they have everything they need so they can be as comfortable they have and get 110% out of the program.
Now, I know this program is designed to help veterans with PTSD. Um, is there somebody with Creativets that can help if a veteran has like a flashback or something like that while they're there at the course?
I would probably take care of that myself, and I'm
Mhm.
not trained in no way, shape, or form by that, but I've had a lot of unofficial training in a sense by just being a volunteer and a mentor at certain programs. And, if that usually works, and, because we can sort of talk each other down. And we've never had an issue where something's gotten out of hand that nobody can handle it. And we've never had an issue that's really lasted more than 10 or 15 minutes that we had to talk to somebody, just to get them,
Mhm.
I don't want to say get their head back on, but, just get them talked down until they're
Yeah.
comfortable and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And, I think most of it is just stuff that they're not talking about, that they haven't talked about,
Hmm.
that they're working on, and they're wanting to talk about it. So I don't want to even say it's more flashbacks. I think it's just more nervousness with them
Hmm.
wanting to get something off of their chest.
And yeah, and just
And,
don't know how yet.
and they feel
Yeah.
embarrassed. And
Hmm.
that's the majority of it. We feel embarrassed when we start. Something hits us, and sometimes we get this big knot in our throat and we just want to cry. And it's
Hmm.
like, I can't do this here because these people are going to look at me and they're going to think I'm out of my mind.
Right.
So, I think with all those type of emotions, that's more of the, I don't want to say PTSD type of, but that's more the issue that I've had, with somebody just getting so emotional because they just want to get something out. And
Right.
after they've gotten it out, they realize that, people are there for them and they're not going to be ridiculed or humiliated over it. And then they're like, oh shit, this worked. This felt good. They realize that it worked, and then they come out of it a lot quicker.
Mhm. Good, good. Um, excuse me. Um, Now, when they're done with the course, and you said that Creativets like to keep the artwork for a year, about a year.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like I know you do the art show afterwards, but is there like like the night before the art show or whatever? Is there like a group meeting where people can discuss what they've gotten out of the program? Or
Well, what we usually do about that is, like the night before the art show this year, Paul Coffey, he was the director of the Fine Arts Museum who got this program set up for us. He took us all out to dinner. Thanked us for being the veterans that we are, and doing what we did, and have a nice meal with us and thank us, and tell us, and not only say tell us, but he lets the veterans know that he appreciates what they've done, and these guys knock it out of the park, so he lets them know that they're knocking it out of the park too with their artwork. But the last day after the art show, or during the day before the art, or the morning of the art show, I'll give everybody some cards and ask them to do a little critique. But it's not a critique to sort of tear somebody down.
mm-hmm.
It's more about what this person meant to you while you were there at the course working on your piece, and if their piece has touched you in any way. And so we'll just ask the veterans to do that for each other, and then just let them know you guys can look at these cards whenever you want. You can read them now, or you can read them when you get home, or you can read them next year. It's up to you. But we do it like that. We try to not, get people too wound up, because they're supposed to have a good time. And if we do have the show, we usually keep heads on the whole 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the program about the show. And we got times for things got to be fired. If we're doing ceramics, certain time frames, things got to be glazed so they can be refired again. So that would pretty much be it. And now once or twice they've had people get it down to the wire, so they're getting down to the wire. But other than that, it's art. So if you're not going down to the wire, you're not working hard enough.
There you go. And you say that the show at the end is open to the public as well?
Yes, sir.
And is there a way, other than just communicating with the veterans themselves, is there a way that the public can communicate with Creativets, so Creativets can learn how it's also affecting the general public?
Yeah, they can contact Creativets through creativets.org, their Facebook page. They're on Instagram.
Let me go ahead and put that up here. I got a slide here with your logo and contact info. So we'll go ahead and put that up now. Now, when veterans, or let me ask it this way. Who contacts you first on the average? Is it the family of the veteran, or is it the veteran themselves that contacts Creativets to get into the program?
I don't handle that part of it so much, but from listening to some of the veterans that I've had the chance to mentor, I'd say it's half. It's 50-50. I think, some of the veterans do it themselves, but I've heard probably a lot since this summer that in this Houston course, that several of the veterans were his wives have put him in there, or friends put him in there, and told them about it and signed it up. Because sometimes veterans will do something, but they're not going to do it on their own. So
that's true.
That's
true.
like signing up for something. So, and then after they fill out the application, a veterans outreach coordinator will talk to them, and that'll be Seth Cole, and he'll ask them. He's a former Army combat vet, and he will talk to them about the program, what they want to get out of it, time frames that they can attend, and he'll get the ball rolling on that end. And then when we get a class built, we'll start doing Zoom calls, probably about a month and a half, 2 months out. We'll try to do a weekly Zoom call so all the veterans can have time to meet each other. They can ask any kind of questions before they get there. So honestly, when we show up at the airport, we almost know each other. We just haven't shook hands. We've just seen each other on Zoom calls.
Yeah, that's how a lot of my advocating started out, was through Zoom calls. So I know how that system works, and it's a very good, useful tool, I think. Now, we talked about Creativets quite a bit, and folks, I wish I could get into this program, but I'm already a artist, established artist, so I know I would not be accepted.
Well, they do a songwriting program down in Nashville too. This 4 days.
I was just getting ready to bring that up.
There
We
you
haven't talked about that yet. During some of the research I did, I heard that there was a veteran that got into the program, was doing music, wrote some lyrics, and a country music artist took the lyrics and he turned it into a hit song. Is that
I think it's something along those lines, from what I
something
understand.
along those lines?
Yeah, I'm not too much on the music side, but I did have a chance to follow him one weekend in the summer. And I think that veteran you're talking about was a medic in the Navy, a Navy corpsman.
Yes.
And
yes.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know if you can say their names or not, but I know two of those country artists did a video.
Yeah, I'm sure you can mention them.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to be mad if we mention their names.
I think it was Vince Gill and Aaron Lewis did a video on that.
Yes.
That thing. So, and I know I heard Aaron Lewis is doing that song on his tours. And
that's what I heard too.
And when I met Sean at the golf tournament in May, he got his first royalty check for about $4 and some change. So
there we go.
He's making it big time.
It's making it.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing from what I've learned about that program. You know, they've got some of the top songwriters in Nashville writing songs with combat veterans at the Grand Ole Opry backstage, where nobody has ever been allowed to do that before. They have some good songwriters and some good singers that produce these songs. I think it's Big Machine Records puts them on a record or a disc, and they put them out on Spotify and iTunes and, social media for people to listen to. And, you can holler at your Alexa right now and ask her to play music by veterans, and that Creativets playlist will pop up.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do that later today. Yes.
Yeah. And so just make sure you have your box of tissues with you, or your box of tissues on the left and right side. Yeah.
see, now this is where the media needs to improve. The way I learned about Creativets was I turned on my TV and it automatically goes to Spectrum TV, and they do local feel-good news articles and the weather. And they actually were talking about a veteran from the Cleveland area who went to Nashville, wrote some lyrics, and was working with a country music artist to write the music and everything for those lyrics. And they kind of followed him for a few days while he was down there.
Yes,
so that's how I learned about Creativets, but they did not mention about Alexa at all. I wish they did, because I would have hit that right there on the button right there. I would have talked to her right away.
Yeah, it's awesome, and the cool thing. And I've got the Dottie West's daughter. I can't remember what her name is, but she's one of the female songwriters that wrote with a female veteran this year. And so my understanding is she has about 25 songs a year on Christian radio. So she's, they've got some heavy hitters that come in and help these veterans, and they don't get paid for it. They're all doing it under the goodness of their hearts, and under, they're just doing it because they want to do it, not because they're getting anything out of it.
Yes.
What they're getting out of it is helping a brother or sister deal with something that's traumatized them. It's probably going to traumatize them for their life.
And not only that, their families as well. Traumatized their families. Because now I've only been married a couple of years. Met my wife a few years ago, and just me going through, dealing with my demons and health issues and everything, it's traumatized her as well.
Yeah.
So to make it up to her, I brought her to Washington, D.C. to meet the other advocates and everything, and I think that was therapeutic for her and our son as well. Plus, my son now brags that he's the only kid who ever wrestled with Jon Stewart on the lawn of the Capitol Hill. So,
hey, did he beat him?
Yes, actually, he did.
Good. Don't let him live it down.
Yep. And that here we were wondering where he was, and we looked, and there they are wrestling on the lawn. I'm like, oh man, that's perfect.
Awesome.
So, folks, this is one hell of a program. Not only does it help veterans, but it helps their families as well. So I really, really, really going to urge you all to get behind this program. Let me put the contact info up there again. Because if you go to the website, I know there's a way you can donate. There's also applications for veterans to fill out. But yeah, let's get behind this program, because this program's doing some fantastic work. And well, Bart's living proof it does. All right. Now, one thing too is just learned here before the show came on. Bart was part of that group that kind of got exposed to some sarin gas in Iraq during the Desert Storm. If you are one of those veterans, please reach out to us. Let me put our email flash on the bottom, because I'm going to talk to Bart off camera here about this a little bit here in a little bit. If you were part of that unit that attacked that depot and got exposed to sarin gas, we need your stories. I'm fighting for you at National Congress. I'm fighting for you to get you some more benefits, but I need your stories. So email me. Tell me what happened. Tell me, because I'm hearing with some of the units, the detectors didn't work, never went off, so you didn't know. I also heard that they went off and the superior officers were saying, ignore it because your batteries are dying. So, but this is what we need to help you. We need those stories. So come on, break that shell, get in contact with us, talk to us, let us know your stories, help us help you. And now let me go ahead and put this other slide up here real quick. Also, recently they changed the phone number for the Veterans Crisis Line, which is about time. About time. Now all you got to do is dial 988, then press 1. No longer have to dial that 1-800 number. Try to remember all that. Also, I don't know, Bart, if you're in the VA system or not. When you call up to make an appointment now, you no longer have to hang up and dial the 1-800 number. Now you just press, I think it's 2, and it takes you straight to the Veterans Crisis Line. That took forever to get changed too. So just got to get that information out there, because it's so much easier because I guarantee you, Bert, if I was in that situation, I'm not going to dial 1-800. I'm not going to hang the phone up when I'm already calling the VA asking for help. Yeah. I'm not going to hang up and dial another number. No.
Yeah, no, it don't make no sense sometimes.
Yeah, but all right, folks, 988, then press 1. And before we end this show, is there anything about Creativets that we did not touch that you want the public to know about?
Well, they also do an astrophotography course out in Texas at Big Bend. Oh. And they were doing it out in Yellowstone, but then they had them floods this summer and it washed out a few miles of road. But yeah, they also do that. So, if somebody's not into songwriting or even art, they can ask about the astrophotography course they got out there. And they'll go out to the desert, dark hours at night, and they'll set up cameras and they take some awesome photos. I've seen a lot of the photos they've done, and they can pick up a town in Mexico 150 miles away, the lights from the town.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. So it's neat how they can do them cameras and get some wild photos of space.
Yeah, I went to Yosemite probably about 15 years ago. And God, that'd be another awesome place for astrophotography.
Yeah. But
you could see the valley underneath, stars up above.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, other than that, Creativets is just like I said, they're a life-changing organization. They're doing it for the right reasons. They don't have hardly any paid employees, so your money, if you donate, is going straight to the veterans. And they just have an awesome staff of people that are there for the right reasons. And I'm very fortunate. I got to meet Richard and become friends with Richard, and the guys and girls at Creativets, because it has brought me so much joy knowing that, you know, I can possibly help change a person's life. And, you know, if I change one person's life, then you know what, I did my job.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
you know.
And that Rosie Torres, who runs Burn Pits 360, that was when I first met her in person. That's the very first thing she told me. Says, Tim, if you can help one veteran, you did your job.
Yeah.
It's all we ask is
Yeah.
if you can help one veteran, then you did your job.
Yeah.
So don't think you can change the world overnight. You do it one veteran at a time.
Exactly. And that's what I just hope to do. And, you know, I'm just glad I have the chance, and somebody thinks that highly of me to give me the chance to hopefully change that one person's life one day.
Well,
So,
it's obvious awesome. It's done you some good, because now look at the way you're helping your brothers and sisters, because now you're running these courses and helping, you know, get them all set up and everything. So
I try.
Dude, I'm impressed. I'm honored that you're on my show.
Oh, thanks, sir. I appreciate it.
And for our other brothers and sisters out there who were exposed to toxins while in Iraq, Afghanistan, Desert Storm, even Vietnam, guys, you're covered under the PACT Act. We're not getting enough claims filed. I don't know if you're scared. Don't know if you're not getting the information correctly. If you're a Gulf War veteran, screw Gulf War syndrome. Do not use that as your claim. Use toxic exposure. Look at the illnesses listed that are presumptive illnesses. Your claim will be approved. Guaranteed, your claim will be approved. The only reason they're going to ask you to do a physical is to determine your percentage. But I guarantee you, right here, your claim, if you file under toxic exposure, the burn pits, the oil well fires, and you have those presumptive illnesses, you will be approved. So get those claims in, people. And Bart, like I said, sir, I'm very honored that you came onto this show.
Well, thank you.
We got to talk about this wonderful, wonderful program.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough. And I'm just glad, like I said, I'm thankful enough that I found this group of Creativets.
Yes, I'm glad you did too, because man, the smile on your face says it all right there. People, if you are having trouble dealing with your PTSD, check this nonprofit out. They are there to help you. All right. If you can't get in here because you're already an artist, hey, they also can teach you a little bit about music. Maybe get in that way. Or, you know, they can help you figure out how you can help your brothers and sisters too. So maybe if you're already an artist, they can use somebody to help out. So give them a call.
Yeah,
send them an email.
We have several professional artists that are mentors that come for a few days here and there to teach shows or teach classes with us. So that you could even do that too if you're an experienced artist.
See, look, guitar pick in the logo, people. There you go. All right, www.creativets.org or 888-585-3799. Please, people, give them a call. And before we end, there's one thing I got to do, or some of my friends won't like me anymore. Let me take that one off. Okay, I got to knock somebody off here so I can see. Oh, didn't come up. Okay, I'll probably get rid of a couple things here. Just trying to bring up one. Oh, there it is. All right. Some friends of mine and I, we wrote a book to help us kind of put everything together when we advocated for the PACT Act, to help us, comprehend everything that happened. So, folks, it's called The Promise. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes & Noble. Actually, I think it went international today. And the introduction was written by John Stewart, forward by Rosie Torres from Burn Pits 360. I know everybody, you know who those two people are. So I'm sorry, just had to put in a little selfless advertisement there, Bart.
No problem, man. No problem. I'd like to see that thing get on the #1 readers list on Oprah.
Yes. We're
So
hoping
good.
for New York Times too. Right now,
There you
it
go.
is the #1 new release on Amazon. And it is also on the best within the top 100. It fluctuates daily on the bestsellers list on Amazon as well.
Cool.
So check it out, people. Help me a little bit financially. Buy the book. Hey, Bart, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I would love to get you and Melinda, your wife, onto the show again here soon, and talk more about this awesome organization.
Hey, that sounds great with me, my man.
All right. Well, everyone, I want to thank, because I've got to admit, this is the largest live crowd we've ever had on this show.
Cool.
This is awesome. So thank you, everybody who joined in right now. And thank you for all the comments and the questions. And Bart, I'm going to stay in contact with you, sir. Because this is an organization I want to be involved with. All right. All right, people. Y'all have a good day. And we'll see you next week. Not next week. Well, maybe next week. But on the 8th of February, we're having retired Lieutenant General Russell Honore on. We're going to talk about his career, his books, the PACT Act, and the environment. He's an environmentalist now, so we're going to talk about the environment as well. And he's also a huge supporter on trying to get the VA changed to help veterans out better than what they're doing. And something tells me once he sees this episode, because he says he's been watching, he's going to fall in love with Creativets. I think that's the type of man he is. He's going to absolutely love your program.
Awesome. I hope he does.
Oh, yes. All right, America. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Y'all.